from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to engage and make it so sleepy. This is a Sleep With Me podcast. Welcome if you're new. This is an older episode of Sleep With Me. In 2025, we've added a third repeat episode to our rotation because so many people are leaning on the podcast, and we want to be here for you in the deep, dark night to help you take your mind off stuff, keep you company, so you could fall asleep. That's the job of this podcast. I'll explain more in the intro if you're new. Now, this is a TNG episode, a Star Trek The Next Generation episode. And if you really like these episodes or sci-fi TV recaps or something else with the show, the best way to make sure we make more of these, particularly TNG episodes, is to vote with your wallet. Like, sign up at Sleep With Me Plus, and when you sign up, let me know. That's why you signed up to support the show, or one of the reasons. I mean, most people sign up because you listen to Sleep With Me multiple times a week, and you want to opt in to be a part of something that's already a special part of your life. And you say, well, you're in my life. I want to opt in to be a part of the show's life. But yeah, if you love these TNG episodes, you know, you don't have to vote. Well, you could just let me know. You could use the contact form on our website. Because I am thinking about doing some more Trek at some point in 2025 or maybe into 2026. But the best way to is for me to hear from you, you know. These episodes are older. This is 400, almost 900 episodes ago, right? Holy cow, right? 900 or 800 something episodes ago. So, wow, it's been a long time since I've met you, TNG. Justice, I think, is this episode. So these will be labeled explicit. They're not necessarily explicit, but they're a little bit looser. They're going to contain some stuff. So if you have, if you just want stuff like that's in the modern era of Sleep With Me, you could skip this episode. But we do remix these episodes and look at them through this, you know, what we're listening to. But we do also say, well, we want to kind of give you a shot into history of Sleep With Me, too. So these will be looser, and we might talk about stuff that we would talk around a little bit more, but they're still very, very sleepy. They are a lot of people's favorite episodes. And again, the whole idea is being here for you. And like I told somebody else recently, I think this show is, Sleep With Me is not it's a part of, not apart from our world, and Sleep With Me is a global thing because across the world there's people that struggle just like you and I do with getting to sleep, right? And so we're all a part of that together, but Sleep With Me does not exist apart from, and that's why I try to give these warnings, but to say, hey, this show does exist in this world that we're doing our best to be in together, and that's why we've added extra episodes, is because I want to be a part of your life in this world that we're a part of together. I don't know if that message makes sense. Probably be talking about in other places. But yeah, let me know what you think. Opt in, or you can opt in with kindness. You can opt in by supporting the show directly, supporting the sponsors, spreading the word about the podcast, or just opting in with positive energy for those new listeners and for yourself. So I'm glad you're here. We do this together. And if you really want to opt in, here's Scoots asking for a couple ways you could do it. Sleep With Me podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Quince. And, we're moving from winter to spring, and things are heating up. And, for me, I can't stand being hot in bed. And that's why I'm so happy about this partnership with Quince. They have so many amazing bedding options. They have their breathable European linen bedding collection and that luxury percale cotton, as well as a bunch of more amazing options. So it's time to ditch those heavy, scratchy sheets. Quince sheets are soft, luxurious, and breathable. They use high-quality materials like 100% European flax linen and organic cotton to give that 5-star hotel feel. And the same goes for their ultra-plush duvets, quilts, pillows, and shams, too. Quince has everything you need to level up your bed. And the best part is, like Quince's clothing, their bedding is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering with top artisans, Quince cuts out the cost to the middle person and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. I've been using the classic organic percale sheets, and they are so crisp and breathable. But I'm also excited to check out this breathable European linen, too. Holy cow, that sounds amazing, especially with summer coming up. And then my daughter has the buttery soft bamboo sheet sets. So you got to check Quince out. Transition your bed for the season with soft, breathable bedding from Quince. Go to quince.com/sleep to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/sleep to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/sleep. Get over there and let me know about it. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, Scooter. Can you listen and can I get your attention? Like, how long have you been listening to Sleep With Me? For a few weeks, a few months, a few years, or for 11 years? If Sleep With Me is the thing that you found, they said, man, I've been looking for this my whole life. It helps me fall asleep. It makes me feel less alone. Then I think you're a super listener. And over the next 4 months, our goal is to get 1,500 super listeners to support the show on Sleep With Me Plus. And the reason is, like, things have changed a little bit faster than I anticipated with with people who support the show directly, but also with the other ways we fund the podcast. And it is in these tough times that that more and more people need the show, that it's the most difficult to keep making the show. And I don't want this show to just, I want it to be here 4 years from now, 5 years from now, to 10 years from now, maybe. But I need you, if you're a super listener and you're the one person listening and hearing me right now, to choose. You're that one person I'm talking to right now. Think about signing up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, and even try out a free trial. You could always cancel it. But that's a big difference. You could sign up and cancel your support. But if you wait too long, like by the end of the summer, we're really trying to hit that goal. So please consider becoming that one person tonight that adds that 1,500 that gets us there. And then you can help all those other people get some sleep too, as well as being able to count on the podcast yourself. So, and you can do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, Plus. I think is how you spell plus. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks, everybody. Oh, Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Posterson, sounds like an earful, wrote the theme song, edits episodes too. Carl W. the Legend, also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer, Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you, any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support, dear Scooter, on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. Don't forget, if you're looking for access to Sleep With Me Plus, to access to ad-free episodes, but you're not in a financial position to support the show, You could earn those for free by referring people to free podcasts at our referral program, sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. If you're like, yeah, I can't afford to support the show, but I really want some of that sweet, sweet bonus content on Sleep With Me Plus, sign up for our referral program and send me an email. Thanks, everybody. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and friends beyond the binary, it's time for the podcaster who's already distracted by dish soap and then also distracted. It's time for the pod. Are you up only tossing, turning, mind racing? You know, maybe because of too much dish soap. Or this episode, if you could title this intro, it'd be dish soap deception. Anyway, it's time for, what did I say? Are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that's here to put you to sleep. And we do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights and press play. I'm going to do the rest. And what I'm going to do is create a safe place where you can set aside issues, whatever's keeping you awake, issues with soap issues. Oh, wait, I've been thinking a lot about soap today because I had a whole nother soap thing. I didn't even bring my soap box. As far as I could tell, none of it came in a box, the soaps that I'm thinking of. If you're soapy, I would say take a quick shower and rinse off and then listen to this podcast. But if you're awake because of thoughts, feelings, like sensations, noises, changes, events, whatever it is, I'd like to take your mind off of that. That's what the safe place is, a safe distraction, an alternative story, a kind voice being sent across the deep, dark night. These are the things I'm attempting to do here. If you're new, let me set the podcast up for you. So we had our business part of the podcast. That's out of the way. And now we have an intro. These intros can run anywhere from 8 to 12 to 14 minutes, or somewhere in between. It's kind of like a mini show, that some people skip and other people listen to, either fall asleep to. But it's usually a way for me to kind of say, who's making this podcast? Why are we making it? And what's it about? But mostly what I do is I demonstrate how the podcast works, mostly by accident. What I do is I say, I'm going to try to attempt to do all those things. Instead, I just kind of be myself, and then I say, well, that was very meandering. Then after that, this is a Star Trek episode, a Next Generation, Next Borification. Maybe we just thought of the title. I don't even know how many episodes I've recorded. This might be the fourth. I think this is the fourth episode. And I think we finally came up with Star Trek The Next Dullification. No, I guess we didn't. We're close. But we're getting there. Probably by the time you hear this, it'll be decided. But coming up here, we'll recap an episode, Justice. So you could skip ahead to that, or you could listen to this. You're under no pressure to really pay attention. So you say, well, for some people it doesn't matter. Some people you might want to get to the Star Trek stuff right away. You can use this podcast how you wish. If you want to use it for pet soothing, I don't think it'll take any stains out of laundry. As a matter of fact, I'm a stainer. I'm Mr. Messy. So, just dealing with some hours ago, I was dealing with grease stains on my pants. And that was before the great dish soap deception that I just came across. I don't know how, I don't want to call out any of the major brands either. So I'll have to be sensitive about that. But, so that's how the podcast works. You don't need to listen. You don't need to pay attention, but you can. I'll be here as your boyfriend, sitting here, trying to keep you company, trying to take your mind off stuff, make you look forward to bedtime or not dread it. And let me just get to my personal issues, because that's who's making this podcast? A person that thinks today, a person that's thinking a lot about soaps. Also, this is a crazy thought. I said, why don't I make a YouTube video about this soap? And I said, well, I don't make YouTube videos, creative brain. And what are you talking about? I think I have voices in stories going in my head all day long. And that was the first time I tuned into that one. There's a YouTuber in my brain, 24/7 broadcasting YouTube channel ideas. I also just pitched someone on, again, I have no business doing this. I barely have a second of time but I said, I pitched someone on a Twitch channel earlier today too. I said, I think we could do something here. So I have overactive brain, check, ability to obsess about things, check, and those kind of things can keep you awake. And also stuff like with a little bit of a sharper edge, like this. So I have a positive dish. I have an unresolved soap story, a positive one, and then one that I'm not too happy about. But it's not the end of the world. Well, it's not really that big a deal. And we got about 6 minutes here. So I'll try to run through this. So the positive one. So I had grease stains on both. I have 2 pairs of the same gray Levi's pants or like pants, jeans. They're pants, I guess, because they're gray and they're not denim. And you say, well, why do you have 2 exact same pairs of the pants? Well, 1, they became discontinued. 2, I stain everything I own. 3, I don't like wearing pants. And when I started wearing these, they said, well, these aren't bad. I better buy another one since they're discontinued. Because you know what'll happen. And then my original plan had been to, like, wear 1 pair for a year and just keep the other pair and then start wearing them. But then I started just alternating whichever pair was clean, But today I face the prospect of probably returning the pants from workwear because they were my pants to wear to work. And they just go into the street. Because I mean, my personal life, like people are, seeing grease stains. The problem with grease stains is why do they have to be in the crotch area always? I mean, because it's where I wipe my greasy hands. I mean, there's no grease going on around there, so, but it's just not a great spot for grease stains anyway. Because you say, Jesus, like, and they say, well, you're not drawing any attention there. I say, thanks, insulting brain. Yeah, I'm not drawing, thanks. That's hilarious. That's totally hilarious. But so, and I'd say this so at some point, a friend, I would meet at a 99-cent store, and we would do the fun 99-cent store shopping. And she was telling me about this pink soap that her mom used that you can get at 99-cent stores. Ends up there's 2 brands, so I don't want to. That make this pink bar soap, laundry soap, hard laundry soap. And of all the topics we were talking about, was the stains on my shirt. And I said, well, geez, I don't think I can even get these grease stains out of here. Because it was when I was an insect trapper and they were from the glue anyway. And she said, well, you should use this soap my mom uses, this pink bar soap. And so at some point I decided to try that. And since then, which would probably be 12 years, I've had this pink bar of soap with me. And when I like, the problem is, realizing you need, like I don't have a laundry routine. I just do it when I have time. But I knew these were my favorite 2 pairs of the same pants. I don't know if that counts as 1 pair. But so I said, well, let me try to get these crotch. I mean, they're from the knee all the way up. Of course, they're on the thigh. It's like, let me deal with these grease stains. And they're pending. Actually, the wash is done but they're not in the dryer because I said, well, I can't have the dryer going when I'm recording the podcast. But I've used that pink soap before, and I've never, I don't know if I've tracked. I don't pay attention, because I'm permanently used to grease stains. So I've never said, wow, that really got it out. But I've never been disappointed either in this soap. So pink 99-cent store soap. I will say one of the brands because it's a very podcasty word, Zote soap. That's the best Zote. I should, a little close to Zygote. You're right yeah. But otherwise, that would be a great nickname. Zote, Zote, I believe. Get yourself some Zote soap. It's a free ad for Zote soap, 99 cents at the 99-cent store. So that was a positive and pending. We'll see how it turns out. I'll tell you what, probably won't care because I say, well, those were my work pants. I have 4 pairs of work pants, 2 gray, 2 tan, exact same model as my gray pants. And then I have another pair of pants that are like casual type pants that I had to buy for a wedding, like on the way to the wedding. And luckily I had time to get them dry cleaned. So then it looked like good pants for just 20 minutes at the wedding. So I'd hate to lose what is that? 5. So 2 out of 5 is that's a high percentage of pant loss. So anyway, so we'll see how it turns out. But then the soap deception, I guess I'd wrap it up fast, is that I just realized it had this dish soap that I was using. And for the longest time, I was buying Trader Joe's dish soap because that's where I do most of my shopping. And I don't really want to go to another store just to buy 1 or 2 products. But sometimes this happens. But I always notice at Trader Joe's, I mean, I don't want to say anything mean, but the dish soap underperformed, in my opinion. And maybe because it's more environmentally friendly. But when you're hand washing dishes, I don't know, you just notice these things. And if it's underperforming, you might use more soap. But they had this wonderful purple, and that made up for it, a purple colored soap, But at some point, when I was at the other grocery store, the mainstream one, I realized I was out of dish soap, so I bought it there on a trip there, and it had the OxyClean or some sort of oxygenator in there. And it was really cooking with gas. When I started washing dishes, I said, holy mackerel. And I think this was a preemptive dish soap buy. Yeah, it was, because I had half a thing of purple Trader Joe's. So I mixed the two, and then I used that for a while. But then I realized that would take a lot of planing. So then I just went back to, alternating. But that would really work good, if I was more of a planner, would just be mixing your own dish soap. 50% Trader Joe's, 50%, dominating dish soap brand with oxygenation. And I'm pretty sure that was proven not to be a real thing. But anyway, whatever they're doing, it gives me confidence in the dish soap. So you say, well, yeah, it's causing those algal blooms. And I say, I'm pretty sure that stuff got, oh, yeah. I just want to wash my dishes. I'm trying to go to sleep. This is why I make a sleep podcast. Because that same place inside that says, I just want to wash my dishes, says, I just want to go to sleep. So that's what this podcast is, to offer you an alternative thing. But then today, moments ago before I sat down at this mic, I was using the corporate soap, the corporate dish soap. I was listening to Who Weekly with Bobby and Lindsay. And I noticed, like I said, I wonder how much soap is in here. In the friggin' soap, the plastic is the same color as the soap, but not the whole plastic, just so you always think it's full of soap. And I said, holy crow, I have no idea how much soap's in here. And a normal person would probably just hold it up to the light and see. But I just felt like I'd been deceived, which I had been. And I said, I wouldn't have, I would have been much more suspicious, purchasing a soap without a clear bottle, but the bottle that you thought was clear because it had the blue. I said, what are these people up to? I don't know that I've been deceived, but I felt deception, if you could tell the difference, which is worse. Because then I say, well, if I was shaming the soap shaming, the new feature on Sleep With Me, I'd say, soap, if you didn't do such a darn good job of foaming the heck out of this sink and actually feeling good, and then you're a little almost too good, then mixing you with the Trader Joe's when I have the will to do that, I would really be upset with you with your fake labeling action. And possibly, algal blooms. I don't know if that is your fault, but anyway. So that's why I make a sleep podcast in a soap bottle. Just the soap trio tonight on Sleep With Me. The soap trio. That might be anybody working on a doo-wop group. Feel free to use that soap trio. Or remind me, could be another fictional autobiography. My days with the soap trio. I want to say palm, olive the palm or something, but that would be too on the nose, So anyway, I'm glad you're here. You don't need to pay attention, but I'll be here for at least an hour to distract you while you fall asleep. You're not under any pressure to fall asleep right away. If you're just getting here and you're skeptical, give the podcast a few tries. See if I can win your trust over. You know, you don't freely have to give it to me. I need to earn it, and I'll do it by being a bit strange, but doing my best. And why? Because I really hope and I really yearn to help you fall asleep. All right, thanks for coming by. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Acorns. April is Financial Literacy Month. That's right. They made a whole month reminding you to finally take control of your money. The good news is you don't need 30 days. Acorns makes it easy to start saving and investing for your future in just 5 minutes. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that matches you and your money goals. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now, even if all you've got is spare change. You know, for me, it's really important to point out that this month, it could be the month, this Financial Literacy Month, this April is a month you could get started. And again, what I love about Acorns is you could get started with this right now. It's simple and straightforward. You don't need a lot of time. You don't have to be an expert. Acorns does the hard part. So sign up now and join the over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $25 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/sleep or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisers, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/sleep. All right, everybody, it is time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Mint Mobile. And whether you say data or data, now my house, you might say we use both because my daughter got started on Mint Mobile back in 2020. But Scoots here, I've been with one of the big three carriers, but that is going to change because I was like, what am I thinking? Paying so much money for data every single month. I need something more affordable. And working with Mint Mobile, I know about their premium wireless plans that start at just $15 a month. So Scoots is moving his service from one of the big three carriers over to Mint Mobile. I wonder if you'll join me, because I'm going to say bye-bye to overpriced wireless plans. And those bills, when I get the text, I say, wait a second, what? And then I usually get a second text with a different amount. I don't know if those are unexpected overages, but Mint Mobile is here for all of us. All plans come with high-speed data or data. Unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. So you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan. Bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts and ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. Join me, won't you? I'm making the move to Mint Mobile. No matter how you say it, don't overpay for it. Shop data plans at mintmobile.com/sleepwithme. That's mintmobile.com/sleepwithme. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5GB plan required. Equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Thanks, everybody. All right, folks, so this episode, we're talking about Season 1, Episode 7, Justice, and the suggestion came in from Jonathan Mann. So I think I'll probably record an extra segment on the top here for that. And I haven't listened to last week's episode yet, but so I don't know if I did this last week or this is the first time, but so, like, as I said, this Star Trek Next Generation thing's probably going to evolve over the next, I don't know how many episodes. But with Justice, what I decided to do is watch it. So I watched it once, actually happened to watch it like a few months ago. Then I watched it again on mute in 3 15-minute segments so I could maintain my focus, even though it was on mute. Then I watched it a third time with the dialogue on. And then, on the second half of this, I'll have it playing while we do the dialogue run through. But let's run through this first, interpretation here. It looks like Season 1, Episode 7. It looks like in my handwriting it says Juices, but it's Justice. It didn't put a T in Justice. And then I spelled planet wrong. Earth-like plant, Plante. Picard's arms are crossed and over. Wow, this is a tough one. Over the shoulder of Picard and. So there's like an over-shoulder shot of Picard and the planet, or PLA. This is my handwriting. It says PL squiggly line that could be LA DR. But since I spelled planet wrong, I'm going to guess it's planet. And then Troy is in, I said, what's up with her red gem hair thing? Is that like part of being a betazoid or not? And is that, I don't know if that's just a season 1 thing. It looks good. Everyone's on deck. Dr. Crusher's arms are crossed. What does this say? Baller's seeds? Oh, pleather seeds. It looked like baller's seeds. Like I said, what is that? Like, I don't want to think about that too long. What are baller's seeds? But leather seats. And I think maybe I meant to put pleather seats. Oh, no, then I said or pleather. The backs look like pleather. Man, my handwriting's really off here. Riker, clean. Oh, Riker, it looked like clean squirm, but I think it's clean shaven. Oh, also another question came up. What's the maximum number of people on the deck at all times? Like, is there a fire code? Well, because there has to be, like, in a alert situation, you want everybody to have, efficient movement. I bet you there's even, if you're going one way, you're close to the console. I don't know. I'd like to know these things. Then the opening, maybe Earth. I couldn't follow it fast enough. Earth, Jupiter, Star, Saturn, Enterprise. Okay, then we're in orbit of the Earth-like planet. And then I put WTF joggers. You got to watch this episode. It is like straight out of the 1970s or 60s. And it's pretty awesome. I mean, again, the sensibility of Next Generation that I'm slowly learning and dawning on is this trickster, like a trickster creator. And I don't know if that's a personality thing with Roddenberry or Moore or somebody else, but very, very funny. And then you see these joggers, and they're very perfect people, like in very skimpy clothes, not diverse, very white and very Nordic, I would guess. But they're not humans either. They're diverse in age. After you watch it 3 times, you start to notice these things. Worf is very defensive. I put Holy Disco Duck. And then the primary female character from the planet, I couldn't tell if she was wearing a wig or not. Her hair was very curly. Then they put very airy in there. Tasha's very warm when they're meeting because they're all giving hugs. Worf smells the woman's hair. Wesley's wearing the sweater, and I didn't even mean this. Maybe I did mean it as a double entendre, but I put Wesley hot in his sweater, ? But I was honestly thinking that too. I'm like, doesn't Wesley get hot in that sweater? And there's lots of shared awkward looks. Guys, the guys have this, they have there's different outfits. I don't think I quantified all of them. The guy's X of cloth looks like Burning Man. Oh, like it looked like the shape of the Burning Man statue when you see it on pictures. Because the guys, they have and now I can't even remember. Maybe I'll just talk about that when I'll describe the episodes in the next run through. And I said, this place is like some sort of space rehab. There's this big giant building. I was also wondering where they filmed this. It looked like a big municipal civic center or something. Like that might have been built in this during the exurb period. Or the suburb period where it was built outside the city center somewhere. And it has these landscaped grounds. I mean, Marin Civic Center is very different than this one, but it kind of reminded me of that, structurally, not design-wise. And if you never Googled Marin Civic Center, do yourself a favor. Holy moly. I went to the bathroom there once. I just drove there. I was up there for work. This was 20 years ago. Maybe not that long ago, and I drove there, looked around, went to the bathroom and left. It was great. Oh, and then everyone just jogs off, like some space rehab. I said that. Where'd they film this? Wesley meets some other kids. People are playing lyres and harps, and there's some strange interpretive dance going on. Tiny cocktails are being drank, like champagne. Full public oil massages. And the kind of characters lead the crew of the Enterprise away by their hands, which is always like an enticing, at least it does stir this feeling of seduction, being led away by your hand. Data's on the bridge with Geordi and Picard. They're turning away from the ship for the planet to see something. The alarms go off, and there's like this half-visible ship or structure. Everyone's perplexed. Geordi looks at it from the lounge. It's some kind of Pepper's ghost effect. Then a light bubble floats out. It goes onto the Enterprise, up onto the bridge. What? Right up to Picard. And it makes a loud noise that kind of shakes the ship and talks to Picard. Then it shakes the ship some more. Picard seems to make some long speech at the bubble, like a little soap bubble, the theme of this night. And then it faces off with Data, who's like mesmerized by it or something, and then it just fuses to Data's forehead, which was, just a bubble on the forehead. And at some point, Data just lies down and says, okay, let's just fuse here. Then we're back on the jogging planet. The kids are walking on their hands, and Wesley's kind of showing off. And then I wasn't sure if the kids were more advanced in their development than Wesley, or like their practices. Because Wesley kind of says, no, I'm not ready for that, but I am ready to teach baseball. Riker's walking around. He's kind of taking it all in, and it's just like a very loving, free love planet, I guess. And there's like people kissing everywhere, making out. No, they're not kissing. And Tasha, for the time being, one of my favorite characters, because she's just, she's I don't know, there's just something about her. But she's kicking it in the background, and she's just having a drink with these two people. And then another group of people are playing this game with silver balls, and there's, lots of free love, as I said. Riker loves it. He's cracking up. He finds everything amusing. And maybe that's like something that works about the show. I haven't watched enough of Next Generation, and I haven't done any reading because I'm paranoid about listening to other podcasts or reading about Star Trek Next Generation. So my apologies to any, people that actually know stuff, because I don't. I mean, my ignorance is, I fear that it'll complicate the podcast, or mess me up. But like, how much does Riker's amusement give the audience permission to be amused? So it's like, okay, Riker's laughing, we can laugh too. It helps to give us like an emotional anchor maybe. And I don't know if Deanna Troi is another part of that. And then, anyway, not important in this second. But then Riker's laughing. Worf doesn't like it. Worf's so serious. And then Riker tries to check in with the Enterprise, but it's no dice. So then Troi and Worf are kind of worried about that. Then Tasha's kicking it, and then Worf goes over. He's not happy. I didn't know if he shamed her, because she was just like enjoying herself in the company of these two people, like in just the art of conversation. And they were drinking red cocktails. And then whatever the aliens told about, whatever they're talking about makes Tasha and Worf wonder, double question mark. And what? And then they get up and it confuses the aliens. I don't know what this says. an ad. And then there's an ad break. And then Wesley and the kids are playing in a very manicured park. And this was ridiculous. I mean, this part was like ridiculous. Wesley crashes into this small greenhouse. It was like, it didn't take away from the episode. It was just ridiculous how unlikely the crash was. But security shows up, and they're also half naked and jogging. And they must have a lot of Vaseline, like a lot of de-chafing things on this planet. Riker, or maybe they just build up a resistance. Probably that, I guess. And then Riker and the trio show up, and how much for the flower. Oh, yeah. Riker's like, how much do we owe you for this flowers? And then Worf and Tasha show up. They're like, hey, don't break any flowers. They got big rules about that. And then they're like, oh, too late. And security's like, sorry, Wesley, you gotta go to, jail for this, for breaking the flowers. But the Enterprise crew's like, no way. This was an accident. Hey, you haven't heard about what? We didn't tell you about Wesley? Like he crashes into flowers and stuff. He's brilliant. But there's like this kind of standoff. Then Riker checks in with the Enterprise. Spaceship. Oh, the spaceship was like a table. Like then we're back on the bridge looking at this weird spaceship that's like half visible. Dr. Crusher's something. She's like scanning the Data's bubble brain. And then after a minute, it lifts off and leaves, and Data's still asleep. Then we go to another commercial break. Then we're in space. Planet. Picard walks into Troy. They put serious arm angles. I don't know what that means. It means their arms were at serious angles, saying this is serious business. Oh, then we're back on the planet. There's lots of side thigh. Oh, he must have talked to Troy over the radio. But yeah, like everyone talks about different side things. If you lived in a place that forbid viewing thighs, like you would love this because you say, wow, that's a lot of side thigh to see. Everyone sits down and they try, maybe this one Picard showed up, I guess, at the planet. Combat serious. Some people have necklaces, some people don't. Some Van Dandy. I don't know what that is. Is some VANICTY. Some variety to their outfits. There we go. I figured it out. All very clean. And I wondered, do they do community laundry or their own? Like, do they use Zote soap on this planet or some other soap? Crusher's kind of crushed by what Data says to her. Then we go to an ad. Then we're in space, both the ships. So Picard's still on the ship, I think. Maybe looking out, hands clasped. He's thinking and worried. Data comes in. I don't know what room this is, but there's a small bar. So I said, is this the officer's lounge? But then I think I looked it up as the viewing lounge. Data's got a theory. Then Crusher shows up. She's stoic and sad because her son's been arrested. Then we see Riker back on the planet. He's looking at trees. Then Riker and Crusher beam in, and woman bows to Riker. I think these notes are off. Returns his pin. Yeah, I missed a set of notes because I thought Riker beamed back with someone, or Picard beamed back from someone with the planet. Wesley comes out with security, but Tasha's with them, and they kind of discuss. Picard kind of lays down. He makes some kind of pitch to the security guys. And Wes kind of is trying to be strong, but then he kind of gets to go to his mom. Then Tasha kind of seemed to be trying to play peacemaker for everyone. And then everyone just beams up, but no dice. I don't think it beamed up. The beams didn't work. And now everyone on the planet is like, we're going to be in big trouble with that table up in space. So Picard yells up to the gods, and Riker kind of makes a comment, and then they get beamed up. So that's like, it's kind of how a lot of episodes end. Picard does something, Riker makes a comment, boom, the problem solved. And this was one to set your time codes for. We're on the bridge, 4327. You got to check this out. Justice, 4327. I think that's the Amazon time code, but it'll probably work on the Netflix. Like, I just happened to be pausing it or something at this moment. And Data's totally having this social, he's sitting in the captain's chair. He's talking to Counselor Troy. And it was like social hour. Like, there was no crisis at all. It's just hilarious. Like, just happened upon it. Data's like, and then, Counselor Troy's like, tell me, Data, how do you process, and then he goes, oh, funny story. I mean, that's not how Data talks, but like that was what their body language said was happening. And then it's all hands on deck, and the strange shipbuilding disappears. Picard nods. Crusher puts her hands in her pockets, and they head off. And that was the end of the episode. All right, so here we are with the dialogue run-through and the live run-through. It's playing now, and it started, Captain's log talking about an M-class planet. I love how Picard says, unusually lovely. And Riker's very excited to report, or what is Riker excited about? Yeah, it is Earth-like beautiful, it will startle you. Oh, yeah, they walk on the bridge, and Picard is, like, grinning and clean-shaven, so happy. He looks like he just got a haircut. He's grinning ear to ear, ear to ear. And double team, Troy and Crusher, they both say the crew needs some lead time. Riker comes on the bridge laughing, full teeth. He's so smiling, so big. And he says, is it as good as you report, number one? And I love how Picard, this is another thing I'm learning because I'm new to this. He always says suggestions. Now, why does it say pound 17? I don't know why I put pound 17. Maybe he said suggestions number one. Let me just check here. So Troy and the Crusher, they say, we got to go down here. They say they're wild, like they have different beliefs. They're very lawful, but very amorous. And then Picard says, what are the negatives? Riker says, not any that we know about. And then they're having this faulty reading, which is a little bit of, saying, and then they say, well, let's take a small group down there. And they say, why don't you take Wesley to check out if it'll be good for young people? It will startle you, open things for the children. And then Tasha and LaForge, they talk about no negatives, faulty reading. Seemed like a little tension between Data and Worf about the glitch in the system, but I'm not positive about that. And then Tasha's like, I'm in a hurry to get down there. Let's do this. And then, of course, there's, let's hope this isn't too good to be true. And then it opens. And then, what is CLS? I started trying to make notes for stuff. What is it? What would CLS stand for? Oh, Captain's Log Supplemental. Ito is the name of the planet. They call it Rubicon 3. Or the people are Ito. And finally earned some well-earned recognition. The people certainly are fit. I notice on this one that Riker also smells the woman's hair, not just Worf. So in the earlier one, Worf kind of got pegged for that, but Riker also sniffed the woman's hair. And you can imagine if you're on a ship, like, you say, well, geez, that smells like coconut mango. Like, we don't have that on the Enterprise, cocoa mango shampoo. Riker asks Troy what she thinks. She says they have healthy sensuality. And then Worf has a killer line, which I'll have to look up here. Oh, he says, nice planet. When he hugs, it's just hilarious. He hugs the woman. She says, I welcome the huge one. Oh, yes. And Worf says, nice planet. It was so smooth. Like he was at a bar. I don't know. And then she meets Wesley, says, oh, you were a young one. I don't know what your customs are regarding love. And Wesley says, well, whatever you're into. And she says, she just kind of she gets it, though. She kind of gives them a basic thing. And then they say, well, geez, do you want to go to the council or do you want to stay and play with love, And they're like, oh, boy. And then Wes says, maybe I should get out of here. They say, let's find you some other kids to play with. Don't worry. Whatever pleases you. And when they say play at love, there's like lots of good looks exchanged. Oh, I like how the woman says, oh, this is unfair to them. Our rules are simple. No one does anything uncomfortable to them. And then they say, well, do you want to run there? And then they say, perhaps they can't run. They find that hilarious. And they say, can't Wesley, this is great. He goes, can't run. Of course we can run. Let's show him, Riker. And then Riker goes to Worf. He goes, hey, buddy, when in Rome, you know what I'm saying? And Worf goes, when and where, sir? And everyone's saying, hey, welcome, welcome. to your good health. And Riker says, she's like, because they're surprised they can run. And Riker says, we may surprise you in a lot of ways. Then we're back on the ship, and Data's like, that's not a glitch, sir. There's some sort of shadow out there. It's kind of in and out of our dimension. And Data, that's what Data says. Then Ricard says, we request you identify yourself. And then he put WTF zoom to Picard when the ship comes out or something. I don't know. And then there's a zoom to Picard and the ad. Let's see the WTF moment. Picard's looking. I see nothing. Oh, Data says there's an object. Request you identify yourself. And then this strange table, like a ship, also looks like a structure appears. Oh, here's the zoom. Oh, Picard just has a WTF look on his face. Then there's an ad. Then there's a hailing. I don't know what's hailing. Unintelligible. Oh, whatever they're saying. And it's half there. And then Geordi looks at it. He says, it's something I've never seen before. It's not really there. Which is like, I said, it's something I'd never seen before. I kind of thought that was a joke almost. And then Data says, they say, what do you think they're saying? Data says, it says they stand by. And then that's when this soap bubble comes to the ship. And Picard, why has everything become a something or whatever? State, D, what does that mean? And then Picard says, why has everything become a something or whatever? And then Ito, the thing says, state the purpose of what you're doing. That's what the bubble says. He says, I'm Picard, Federation. Like, what do you want? He goes, oh, we're trying to make peaceful contact. And they said, are you going to leave people here? He said, no, we're just visiting. But we did leave some people somewhere else. We did do a colony. I think Ito asked about that. They said, well, it was uninhabited. The life forms we left there had sought the challenge of creating a new society. He goes, life on our world is driven to protect itself by seeding itself as widely as possible. And then the Ito said, don't mess with the children below. And then it goes over to Data, and it says, can we exchange data? And then they say, Picard says, it would probably be a good idea. Then we see Wesley and the kids. There's like all this subtext and confusion. I also noticed that some people are wearing slippers at this point, I noticed. But, at some point, Wesley's playing with the kids, and he thinks, she goes, oh, I'd like to teach you something. And Wesley goes, well, I'm not, he goes, I'm not, he goes, I don't know. And she goes, playing ball. And he goes, he goes, if you got a bat, I could show you how to play ball. A stick or a branch, something this long. But Wesley's kind of supposed to be the wallflower, which is, because he, I don't know, it's hard not to read between the lines on some of this, but I think it is, and easy to miss, too, in a good way, like where you're not, like me, overreading. Then Riker, this will please you. Oh, there are people playing the ball game. They say, hey, this will please you. Join us. The good like Worf. Oh, I think that's what Riker says. This is the good life, huh, Worf? And Worf says, I'm not concerned with pleasure, Commander. I'm a warrior. And he goes, Riker goes, don't you need love? And he goes, well, if I wanted love, I'd like a Klingon woman. And Riker goes, what about like pleasure? He goes, don't you have a need for that? And Worf goes, yeah, but he goes, it's too fragile. And, this is killing it for Riker even. He goes, Worf, if anyone else said that, I suspect he was bragging. And he goes, bragging, and then he goes, I got to call. He goes, I got to check in. Oh, wait, there was also, also the bubble. I forgot, the voice of the bubble sounds like Paul Frees, the famous voice actor. Riker cracks up. Worf just has a serious face. Then Riker can't reach the Enterprise. And he goes, get our selves together. And then just the way Worf said this, he goes, including Wesley, the boy. He just says it in this way. I love Worf. If you don't get that, you'll soon realize my love for Worf. I believe most of the roommates I've had in my life have been a Worf, if there was a personality type. I mean, I don't mean like physically. I mean, but so then Riker, Riker and Troy go to look for Wesley, and Tasha's having this conversation over cocktails about crime, because they say, "Oh, we used to have crime, but now we don't, because there's just a zone, and if you are breaking any laws in that zone, you get in trouble, and it's pretty strict, so no one breaks any laws." And Tasha's like, "Any law?" And they're like, "Any law." And she goes, "Well, why didn't you tell the visitors about this?" And Worf's they're like, "We better get Wesley, because you know how clumsy he is." Then we have the law is the law, they say. And then Wesley goes past the line and falls into the new plants. He goes, "It's fine. I'm fine." Wesley's like, "Don't worry about me." They're like, no, the plants. And then security shows up, and this was very science fiction-y in a good way, because they say, "Oh, how sad you broke those plants." They say, "Well, he didn't know about the rules." And they say, "Always sad, now doubly so." And Wesley says, "Well, I was just playing ball." Like, he goes, "I'm from Starfleet. We don't lie." And they say, "Well, okay, but sorry, we do, you're in trouble." Then Riker, let's see. I'm sorry, I messed up. New plants. It's like a totally confusing situation. And then Riker shows up, and then they say, "Well, is this how you're our friends?" Riker's like, "Well, you're not arresting Wesley." And they go, "Is this how friends act?" Riker can't get through the Enterprise. Then we see, and then Tasha and Worf show up, and they're like, "This is trouble." And then, let's see, Data and the Bubble are having an information exchange. The Bubble leaves. And then they get a call from Riker. And I think that's when Picard says, "I'm beaming down." Then there's an ad. And then Riker and Picard, they talk to Troy. And they say, "Well, here people are honest to a fault. But they have great pride in, how they do things." And then they said, "Yartha, Captain, we're ready." And then that's when the Prime Directive comes in, because Picard's like, "Well, I just can't break." They say, "Well, these are our rules, and we have to follow them." Wesley damaged the plants. He was in the non-damaging plant zone. He goes, "That's our laws. Maybe you have laws where you come from." And, they talk about, crime and punishment, Dostoevsky type stuff, and how laws change and how people advance. And they say, well, maybe you could just take Wesley. Like, we can't release him because those are our laws, but maybe, if you're so advanced, you could just take him from us. And then Picard's like, "Well, we have the Prime Directive, so it means we can't mess with your laws. We have to follow your laws, kind of." And Riker goes, "There's this big thing going around your planet. You have any idea what that is?" It's like a table building ship. They go, "Oh, yeah, it's protecting us." But Riker doesn't say that. He goes, "How would you describe it?" They said, "Existing here and in another place also," which was true. Oh, also, this was a WTF thing that could be investigated. "We have learned to detect the seeds of criminal behavior." Picard said that at some point. I said, "What?" And that sounded controversial to me. Then Picard takes a woman with him in Troy, and she says, "I'm frightened, going," because she's about to get transported to another planet. And Troy says, "Don't worry." She actually says there's no reason to be. I don't know if that's like proper counseling. And her name's Riven or something. And she's like very impressed with the ship. She goes, "Jesus, this is like a big thing." Then she has to go look at her own. Of course, she falls to her knees. Then Picard says, identify. I don't know. He wants to know that this is definitely how do you know? And have you talked to it? And it says, "Put my kid back on Earth." And so Picard sends her down. Says, "Well, that didn't work out." And Picard says, "Geez, I feel bad about that." And he goes, she was really frightened. And Troy says, "It's understandable, sir. Sharing an orbit is no small experience." I liked that line. And then, Crusher says, "Geez, what are you going to do, to get my kid out?" And she goes, I expect some action. He goes, if he was your son, you'd be frightened. And Picard says, but I am. And then we have this funny thing that's become a kind of recurring theme for me. It's like, is Data is like a super stoned person sometimes. Because Data recovers from the data thing, the data exchange. And Picard says, well, what do you think's going on? And he goes, perhaps it's not a vessel, sir. He goes, the dimensions that it occupies them allows them to be in several places at once, but they consider this entire star cluster theirs. He goes, probably shouldn't have put a colony here. He goes, well, we picked the one that was the largest and the closest. And Picard says, Data, don't babble. He goes, babble, sir? I'm not aware I ever babble, sir. It may be that from time to time I have considerable information to communicate, and you may question the way I organize it. And Picard says, please, I said, Data could do this podcast. Please organize in brief answers to my questions. And he says, get to the point. Picard's trying to find his way around the Prime Directive. But then he says, Data gets too terse, and he says, Data, please feel free to volunteer any important information. He goes, well, you just shamed me for being a babbler. And then they kind of go back and forth about the Prime Directive, and if they violate it, what will the Edo do? And Data says, well, it's just judging us by our own rules, that make us untrustworthy. But Data doesn't know the context. And then at the end he goes, you're right, sir, I do tend to babble. I just liked it. But then Picard kind of figures it out. Another stores moment. Another stoned moment. I do tend to babble. Then there's an ad. Then there was a really good star date. Captain's log star date. Whatever object or vessel is in orbit with us, it hangs there like a nemesis. I just loved that too. And then Data goes to meet with Picard. Picard says, Data goes, you want me, sir? He goes, yeah, let's have some more talk, Data. And he goes, sit down. And Data says, well, what level of communication, sir? And Picard says, any. My apologies for saying you babbled. And Picard is such he's really quick to apologize when he's wrong. He's a good captain. But it's just funny, I don't know, the details you could pick out of the show that are cool. I just find this so cool that there's this babbling thing in here, and it just really makes me love the show and watching it for the fourth time this episode. Let's see. So they have more talk. Data's got some great questions. He really helps Picard kind of find an answer. Because Picard says, well, what do you think I should do with it? He goes, well, with the Prime Directive, he goes, how do they evaluate the Prime Directive? What are their values? And Picard says, geez, I don't know how to explain it. He goes, I goes, way Wesley being arrested with everybody I'm in charge of in the Prime Directive. And Picard says, and Data says, well, will you choose one person over 1,000? And Picard says, I refuse to let arithmetic decide questions like this. And then they kind of talk about, geez, how is this device? The big question, like 1 versus 1,000. And I just put wow about this discussion. But even Data says, this is cool, because he says, well, maybe this is another step in evolution, because when they were probing my mind, I saw they existed once just in this dimension like we do, maybe even flesh. And he goes, but now they're living in some sort of multi-dimensional universe, which has advantages we do not even understand. And actually, I think this is what it gives for, I didn't realize it till just this moment, but then Picard says, well, maybe they had shared values when they were, flesh, if they were flesh, humans. And Data says, well, the Edo are like somewhat mammalian too. And then Picard says, well, why would an advanced, multidimensional race be looking over this planet? And he goes, well, it's like a colony maybe. Then Crusher comes and they get ready to go down. Picard says, don't worry, I'll deal with this. Something Wesley. Then they're on the planet, and Riker, they're like, okay, it's almost time. Then Picard and Crusher come. Then Wesley comes. He goes, are you going to let them arrest me? He goes, no, but we have to find a way out. And then the security guards are like, you're here. What are you doing? You're kind of disrupting our way of life with all this nonsense. And Picard's trying to weigh out the different rules. And Wesley's like, geez, I don't want he goes, just because, I don't want to I'm not more important than, all the other people on the ship. I don't know what I'm going to do here, Captain Picard. And then Picard's like, all right, I think we're ready to go. And then the Edo even warned them, because Picard's like, geez, we're not supposed to interfere with other lives in the galaxy. Because they're like, what kind of justice is this if it's just your justice? This is a kind of like a subtle anti-colonial statement. But then Tasha's like, well, what about Wesley and justice? He didn't know your laws. And Picard's like, well, I got to make a decision. I got to worry about my form of justice, kind of. And then the transporter won't work. So then Picard yells up to I think first Dr. Crusher says, this is unfair. And they say, well, ignorance of, law isn't a defense. And Picard says, I don't know how to communicate this, but, justice has concerned me of great lately. And I say to any creature that's listening, there can be no justice as long as the laws are absolute. This was the same message at the end of Aladdin, by the way. Even life itself is an exercise in exceptions. And this one, Riker goes, yeah, when's justice as simple as a rule book? And then they beamed up, and Picard says, it seems the Edo Lord agrees with you, number one. And then we're back on the bridge, and Riker puts the viewer on. Picard says, let's call him. He says, he goes, we're going to remove the colonists from the solar system if you signal us to do so. Please tell us. And then the ship just disappears, and they say, was that a signal? And Picard says, I suppose it must be. I was hoping for more. And Geordi says, of what, sir? I'm glad it's gone. And Riker says, yep, short and sweet. And Picard, of course, like being the commander, he says, geez, I was hoping we'd learn more about it. But since we can't, let's roll, number one. And he says, gladly, sir. And that ends the episode. All right, everybody, it's time to tuck you in with tonight's sponsor, Helix Sleep. And really, you should be thinking about getting yourself a Helix so you could tuck into one every single night, just like I do. Now, my favorite part about Helix is that you don't have to tuck yourself into the exact same mattress as me, because Helix has so many different mattress models to choose from. And all you need to do is head to helixsleep.com/sleep. Take the Helix quiz. You'll get matched with a mattress that meets your needs, just like my Helix Dusk Luxe fits my needs. I've been 2 nights back in town in my Helix, sleeping so soundly. My Helix is right behind me, listening in. Every episode, my Helix makes sure I'm rested so I can do my best, so I can live a fuller life, whether it's making this podcast or spending time with family. There's no more tossing and turning. So it's time. Get a mattress that's matched with you and your needs. Take it with your partner or take it for yourself. When I took that Helix quiz, I was looking for something, I sleep on my side, I sleep on my stomach. I don't want to be hot and stuffy. I got matched with the Helix Dusk. I picked the Helix Dusk Luxe, and the rest is happy, sleepy history. So go to helixsleep.com/sleep for 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for 20% off site-wide. helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody.